and the boldness that you gain after speaking affirmations over yourself. The more you hear it, the more you believe that it's true.
And welcome to Premier Fitness. I'm Gene Williams, your yoga instructor, and I'm here to tell you about the benefits of yoga.
Hey, 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 thank you for joining us. You have just tuned in to Where is the Love? I am your host. I am Stephanie Hawken Hall, and I'm trying to get my screen together. Um, Thank you again for joining us. We haven't had a show for a few weeks, so I'm trying to get it together. I'm your host, Stephanie Hawken Hall. Gene Williams, my son, is our co-host. Come on in and help me because I'm all over the place.
I keep on falling in and out of love with you.
I thought you would get a kick out of that. So at work they started that. So Mark, you missed it. I sent Gene a message telling him people keep calling me Alicia Keys or singing her songs to me when I wear these hats. So for the last 3 weeks, that's what I've been hearing. Um, so yeah, we are here to talk about bullying. We're talking about healing. We've been talking about bullying for a long time. First of all, we celebrated our 4th year this month, the first part of this month, and we took a break for a few weeks, and so we're back to talk about healing, which is what we started the first part. No, the end of March is when we started talking about that. So we don't want to only talk about bullying and brokenness and narcissists and gaslighting. Those are all the bad things that we talked about and brought to surface. So we want to talk about healing. Let's get some healing happening
Get
in
it
our
all.
lives and not focus on this other, right?
Yeah, all of it's necessary, but healing is definitely important.
Yeah. So, and we are definitely on a healing journey, which is huge to us because we recognize and realize, we're acknowledging our emotions and talking about our emotions. And once we acknowledge them, then we know that we have to choose to keep that emotion or let it go. And if can you hear me okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Um, you have to choose to keep that emotion or let it go. So it's up to you when you realize what you're experiencing. And so let me tell you where you can watch us, and then we'll continue. So you can watch us on our YouTube channels, Love Misunderstood Institute or Premier Fitness 0210, or you can watch us um, on POD on website podtv.tv. You can also watch us on Roku on TV, on Roku or Amazon Fire right now while we're airing this show. So those are places you can watch this show. And you can also see us on my LinkedIn channel, um, Stephanie Stephanie Hawken Hall on LinkedIn, or Love Misunderstood Institute on LinkedIn. So those are all the places you can watch us. If you missed something, you can go back to any of those places and watch the replay. Make comments, talk to us, let us know what's on your mind so we can help you.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you have anything you want to add?
No, I think this is an important show. Like you said before, it's important to after we discuss uh, all the craziness in the world with dealing with interpersonal relationships. It's definitely important to discuss the process of healing. So yeah, I'm excited about this show.
So you want to get us started?
Yeah, yeah. All right. So on episode 108, my goodness, 108.
Yeah.
Wow. We discussed steps to heal a wounded heart. First is acknowledge the pain. Accept that you are hurt, that your hurt is valid, and give yourself permission to feel. Number two, you identify core wounds, reflect on recurring themes of your pain. For example, rejection, abandonment, or betrayal. Number three, release blame. Holding on to resentment keeps you trapped. Shift focus to self healing. Number four, I believe, yes, four, is set boundaries. Learn to protect yourself emotionally and physically from toxic relationships. Amen to that. And lastly, we discussed reframing negative beliefs. Challenge thoughts that stem from past hurt and replace them with empowering truths. So to start episode 109, we're going to share more steps to heal the wounded heart.
So now we're picking up from where we left off. So Gene just went through what we did on the last episode. So we're going to pick up from here and continue sharing information to help you um, heal your wounded heart. We all have wounded hearts because of our past issues. So the next one would be practice self compassion. So speak to yourself with kindness and patience as you heal.
Right.
Gina's always telling me, and it's been real helpful. Um, Something that I don't do, he always tell me, "Ma, give yourself grace," and that really helps me because we're always so hard on ourselves, and sometimes we're harder on ourselves than other people are on us. So then, next, forgive for your own peace. Forgiveness doesn't excuse the harm, but frees you from its control. Forgiveness is very, very important. And you don't have peace when you don't forgive people. You are miserable, you're unhappy. And so you don't have peace until you forgive. So we have to make it automatic where we forgive other people um, when they wrong us. So, um, like I said, it's very important, and you won't have peace. Do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I was going to say. So I love the saying or the cliche, um, forgive but don't forget. You know what I mean? Always remember, forgiveness is for yourself. So that you can go in the process of healing. But don't forget what they did. Remember what they did, and remember. Okay, so this is this type of person. You have to, put people in certain categories. Okay, so this person does this. Okay, I can still be, I forgive you, but I'm gonna forgive you while you're over there from a distance. Hey, how you doing? Hey, can you hear
Yeah.
me? Okay, exactly. I like to chunk the deuces at people now. That's my thing. Hey, oh, okay, that's what we're doing. All right, see you later.
Hey, I don't know if Jackie is still on here, but thank you, Jackie Jackson congratulated us on 4 years. I just saw it.
Thank
So
you.
thank you, Jackie. We appreciate you. And Renee just made a comment on here, or not a comment, but she loved what we're doing. So thank y'all for seeing our show. So go
Thank you.
ahead. I'm sorry.
All right. So next is rebuild self worth. Engage in activities that reinforce your value outside of relationships. And actually, that's a major point because we tend to a lot in all relationships, a romantic is what I'm talking about. Romantic relationships where we base our happiness and our self worth and how we see ourselves from other people. You know, it's very important to always to realize that you are worthy of love. You're worthy of positive
That's
things,
right.
and then when you make that a reality, constant reality for yourself, and you attract what you have within. So
Yep.
as within, so without. So everything that you have in your head or in your heart about yourself, that manifests outside of you. So it's important to build yourself up, do things that make you feel good about you. You know, um,
Absolutely.
self worth is everything.
Yep.
Uh,
So next is find healthy Find a healthy support group, system, person. Surround yourself with people who uplift you and encourage your healing journey. We need that. It's so important. We have to have it. We can't do things alone. We don't live on an island by ourselves.
Right.
So we need people. We need help. We need support. And
Yeah.
when we don't have that help or that support, we are so easy to fall apart.
Right.
We have to have help.
Yep.
So you want to do the next one, or you want to add something to that?
Yeah, I was going to say we are the company that we keep. So you have people around you that uplift you, then you all grow. But if you have people who are constantly tearing you down, then everybody's gonna be torn down, and that's just what it is. It's just like the saying, "You are what you eat. You are the company you keep." Um,
Yeah.
all right. So next, engage in deep healing work. Journaling, therapy, faith-based reflection, or coaching can help process emotions. That again, we speak about journaling and therapy and all of that often on this show. It's so important. All of it combined, if you can do it. But journaling for sure is something that I feel like must be done. You have to kind of take stock of your day and your feelings and your growth, and you can look back at your journal and be like, "Wow, okay, I've grown from this. This is, I've become stronger because of these things I've been through, and I've chronicalized it, in my journal by writing every day about how I'm feeling. So now, okay, I see my growth, and that's a powerful thing to see the growth, see the steps that you've made to become a better version of yourself. That's just it. It's a beautiful thing. It needs to be done across the board.
Right. And so the thing about acknowledging your emotions by journaling or by doing therapy or some or faith-based reflection, by doing those things, you're acknowledging your emotions. You're saying they're a real thing, and I got to do something with this. Kind of what I said in the beginning. So when we don't acknowledge our feelings, when we don't acknowledge our emotions, we act like or pretend like it's not happening, then just think about how miserable that makes you.
Right.
So journaling, writing it down helps get it out. If you're not saying it verbally, verbalizing your emotions and your feelings really helps. And sometimes that's just not enough. So you keep doing things. Maybe you might have to have therapy. So if you don't have somebody you can trust, you can call 988. That's somebody you don't even know, but somebody you can share your emotions with. That's also the suicide hotline. So by doing those things, you're getting your emotions out, acknowledging them, and doing that deep healing work. Because otherwise, it's just surface work. I'm mad. I'm gonna stay mad for a couple hours. And you have to do that deep healing work in order for it to change. Good. So I hope because my earbud has some buzzing in it. Mark, is my sound okay? So the next thing, I sure hope it is. So the next thing is focus on the present and future. Don't allow your past pain to dictate your happiness moving forward. Man, you stagnate your growth when you do that.
Right.
So a little static. Um, I'm gonna add my other earbud. Um, so you stagnate your growth when you don't, when you don't deal with that pain. You
Right.
can't move forward. Just think about how miserable and unhappy you are when you don't deal with stuff.
Right.
So learn how to deal with stuff so you can add to it or move on to the next thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully
So I was
this
gonna say,
changes.
so when people are depressed, studies have shown that when people are depressed, they are focusing on the past, living in the past. And people who are anxious are nervous about the future. Staying present helps you process things as they are. Um, and I think that's something that we should do every day. Like at the end of the day, I take time to take inventory of that day. Even if I don't write it down, I just lay in the bed and I kind of process. All right, this is what happened today. This is how I felt. You know, whatever. And okay, so I did this well. I even critique myself. I did this well. I think I could have done this better. Stuff like that. And that's just the process of being focused on being the best version of yourself, and also projecting that forward, because every time you take a step forward, you make progress. So yeah, just focus on the present, in the moment, what you're doing, and then look over your day like, okay, I did this well. I could have done better in that instance.
Yeah.
So that's really important.
And so I was cheesing real hard while you were talking because I didn't tell you this. Well, I showed you the cover, the new cover.
Yeah.
So I just created a journal, and that journal is doing exactly what you just said. So it is, first of all, the static. I think I'm gonna have to change my earplugs. I'm gonna try this like this and see if it works. Sorry, y'all. Um, so the thing is first thing in the morning there is a way to to just get in tune with the day, and I call it getting in tune with the master. He already knows what the day is gonna bring. We don't know what the day is gonna bring, so we can get up in the morning and get in tune with him. Listen, this is horrible. This sound is horrible. Um, and then at the end of the day, do exactly what Gene said. So I'm not gonna, repeat what he said, but that's what this journal is for. And so although I just had a book, and I did this journal 2 years ago, so now it's time to put it out. So that's why I did the cover a few nights ago. So that journal will be coming out sometime this week. I'll be sending it to be printed. And then so my fifth book will be out. So my fourth book, y'all don't see four books because my fourth book a it is a I'm having technical difficulties.
Breathe through them, Mama.
Okay, so the other book that y'all haven't seen yet is a virtual children's book that I'm taking into the school system. I've already presented it to one school, um, so that's something. So that's my other book. So that journal will be coming out within the next week or two. I'm sending it to print this coming week, and so y'all be seeing me open that box. I don't. So anyway, just a little
Yeah.
side note.
Deal, deal. That's
But
what I'm
it's
saying.
important to start out the day taking the time to see and to hear what you're supposed to do, having that conversation, and then at the end of the day, okay, everything you said, I'm not going to repeat it.
Yeah.
So healing is so important, y'all. We got to get it. So
Listen,
go ahead.
and it's a healing is a conscious effort. You have to
Yes.
you have to consciously do the work. You can't just slide by. This is not one of those things you can do on autopilot. You
Yep.
have to be conscious and aware and actively moving towards healing. If you're not if you're not making conscious movements, you're not moving towards healing, and that's just the
Yep.
fact. It's just
Yep.
the fact.
And who wants to live a life full of chaos, toxicity,
Right.
um, and
Not I.
just unease? Who wants that?
Right.
Nobody. That's not good for nobody.
I want nothing to do with it.
Do
Nothing
we
to do
do?
with it.
Do we do focus on the present? I think that's where we're at.
Yeah. That's what we just did that
Okay, would you do the next one, please?
one. For sure. So, how to teach others to heal. First, share your journey. Lord, vulnerability allows others to feel seen and validated. It's difficult, but it's important. Actually, this is the main thing about this show here. Just us sharing not only information, but also sharing our healing journey. You know,
Right.
being vulnerable is not easy, but it's absolutely necessary.
Yep. Because our hurt is is to help other people. The experiences that we've had, we're to heal and to help others, and it helps us heal while we're sharing our stories too, or
Yeah,
while we're sharing our um, experiences. Mark said nobody wants the drama.
Yeah, right, exactly, right. None of that. Please keep it to yourself.
Yeah. So I still hear static. I'm so hoping that this is not messing up the.
Oh, it's a great show. I hear you well. I'm
Okay.
not. Yeah, I mean, you got a little bit of static, but you're good.
Okay. So the next thing is to encourage self reflection. So remember, you're helping somebody else, right? You're teaching others how to heal. So the second thing is to encourage self reflection. Guide them through exercises like journaling or guided questions, like Jean just shared. It's important because they don't know, how to. Oh, Mark said the message is coming through, so that's great. So they don't know how, and we had to learn, and we learn because we have to share it with other people to teach them because they don't know, and so we're not going through our experiences and learning from our experiences just to keep them to ourselves. Other people need our help. A lot of people are hurting.
Right.
So, Jean, go ahead with the next one.
Yeah. All right. So next is teach emotional intelligence. Help others identify, process, and regulate emotions. Uh, Man, emotional intelligence is just keeping your head on and being able to understand. Uh, this society teaches us to flip out. Every
Yep.
time we look our way, people have temper tantrums. Grown
Yep.
ups, all the way down to babies, have temper tantrums because they can't get their way. And emotional intelligence is just realizing, okay, I'm not getting what I want right now, but that doesn't mean I'm never going to get it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Uh, and with that, just that process of understanding that everything ain't got to be right now. You know what I mean? It's frustrating though,
Yeah.
but you know, but we're not taught how to process. But okay, well, you know, if I do this, then I get consequences. We ain't taught that. It's
Yep.
unfortunate. That should be something that everybody teaches. I mean, they say it with laws and all of that stuff and rules and punishments, but they don't like say it outright. You do this, you get this. Everything has a result. Everything has equal and opposite reaction. That's universal law.
Yep. Yep. So on the what does it say? Regulating motions. So Hal was just talking about teaching others, learning and teaching others. Once you learn how to, you know, uh, get where you need to be,
Right.
and dealing with your emotions, makes me think about the kids. So I do group counseling. I'm a mental certified mental health coach, and so we're in the public school system, and I work for Building Bridges KC, and that's a group of therapists and certified mental health coaches. And so in the public school system, we're teaching the kids how to regulate their emotions. You get mad, but you don't throw stuff like you were just talking about. You have to deal with it. And so, anyway, as I teach these kids these things, then I'm having to recognize I can't ignore when things are happening to me,
Right.
my emotions. I'm upset or something like that. I'm having to regulate my emotions. So sometimes while you're learning, you're having to teach
Right.
at the same time. So sometimes that happens, and then other times you've already been through it, you've learned it, and now you're teaching it to other people. So I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, and oftentimes it's like people learn by you don't always have to say something, just by example. A lot of times, because people pay attention. People pay attention to what you're going through. They may not say anything, but they're watching. They're always watching.
Yeah. And you never know who's watching.
Right. Right. Yep. So just always put on your best. Do everything you need to be your best self. But yeah,
Yeah.
regulating those emotions is huge because a lot of if you look at politics, I mean, they throwing temper tantrums because they can't get their way. I mean, you look at TV, these TV shows, you see people in the streets and in the stores, like you grown as I don't know what. You having a temper tantrum?
Yeah.
No, you. No, I'm just upset. Okay, but you going off, you flipping out, yelling and all that. Right? Like really? Would you go take a deep breath somewhere, please? Go sit down. Go sit down. Go sit down somewhere. Take some deep breaths.
Take a couple deep breaths. How about 4 or 5 of them?
10. Take 10. Take 10. Long, slow, fast. Please. Please, please.
So the next thing is promoting healthy boundaries. Offer practical ways to set and enforce boundaries. Remember, we're helping other people. So I have to share this. So Gina and I we struggled learning how to set boundaries. And then once we learned how to set the boundaries, then we had to learn how to stick to them. Because we cave in and, okay, well, they doing this or they doing that and making excuses for why we needed to not enforce our boundaries. And so now we've learned how to enforce the boundaries and how to stick to them. And if it ain't good for you, well, too bad. I mean, because it ain't about you. You doing something to me to make me have to create a boundary. So now this is what you're getting, So I think I don't know if it's this computer or what the heck it is, because now I've taken off all my earplugs and stuff and I still hear it. So you want to add something to that or go to the next one?
Yeah, just be consistent about those boundaries. That's a huge thing. Be consistent because people are going to test you.
Yeah.
They're going to try to use the guilt trip or, well, you're hurting me by not. Hey, man, listen. Either you can listen to what I said and we can still be cool, or you can hit the dough. That's how it's gonna go.
Your choice, what you want.
What you doing?
Because these boundaries is up. I mean, and they are real. So
walls, man. Walls.
Yeah. All right. So did you want to add something else to that?
Nah, I'd be talking trash if I did. All right. So next is provide affirmations and encouragement. Remind them of their worth and ability to heal. Yeah. And I kind of want to mix that with that support system situation. I even have affirmations on my wall. Like, I read them before I get up. I lay in the bed and look at them, read them, recite them to myself a few times, then I get up and go about my day. But that's how you start. You said that for yourself, and also just yes, when you see a person who's going through the healing, remind them that you're doing a good job. Encourage people. Bless you over there.
Thank you. Yeah. So the thing about affirmations, and I was telling the students last week, we were talking about shame and reframing shame and how shame, makes you feel bad or makes you feel like you're a bad person or makes you want to go hide. And so I was telling them, look, to reframe it, act like and I had a piece of paper, act like this is a picture frame. So that shame, you don't want to see that in the mirror, or you can act like this is a mirror or a picture frame. You don't want to see that. So the shame is on the outside. I'm so stupid. I always mess stuff up. Put that on the outside of this frame. You don't want to see that. So what you want to see is I am a good person, or I am a smart person, or, so affirmations. And then with those affirmations, I had them writing down affirmations, thinking about that thing that somebody has said to them or that they've even said to themselves, which made them feel ashamed or, fill them with shame. Let's make affirmations for that so we can start speaking to that. And then you keep saying these affirmations over and over again. And before you know it, you've built your courage muscle. And, and so now that courage you're able to say, what you need to say, if you need to say something to that person, or the affirmations will build you up so much that when they say whatever they say to make you want to go hide or make you feel like you're a bad person, you're like, man, get on out of here with that, because that don't mean nothing to me. I'm strong. I'm confident now because I've been, saying these affirmations. So Mark said, he said a few things here. He said, I am the best producer since Quincy Jones. All right.
Hey, now, come on now.
All right. And I am the best producer since Joe Rogan. Is that right? Rogan. Yeah. And then I am the best filmmaker since Spike Lee. Okay. Come on with the affirmations.
There we go.
He said, should I affirm that every day? Yes, sir, you should. Because then you're going to be a better producer. And then he said, can I affirm for others? He said, Gene is the best musician since Prince and Michael Jackson.
Take that. I will take that.
He said, Stephanie is the best author since Isaac Asimov. Is that how you say it? Asimov. Thank you, Mark. I take that. I take that. Sure. So, Gene, you want to add something to any of that?
No. All right. So next is create.
He was. I'm sorry. He said this Isaac was a super prolific sci-fi writer. Okay.
Okay. I remember.
Thank you, Mark. I take it. Gene, you gonna do the next one, or you want me to do it?
I got it. So next is create safe spaces. Foster environments where they can share without judgment. Yeah, create safe. Be the safe space for people.
Yep.
Let people just talk to you. A lot of time, man. So for me, the healing process is a lot of talking to people that you trust, and a lot of issues for me as it pertains to like talking to people about what I'm going through is a lot of times for me it's just I just want to talk. I need to get it off my chest. Like, I don't really need advice. I just need to be heard.
Yeah.
And being that space for people is important. Like when somebody's going through, I try to be that person just to listen. Now, if they ask for advice, then I'll give it. But generally speaking, most people just need to be heard. They need to get it off their chest. They need to know that someone cares enough to listen.
Yeah.
Actively.
Yeah.
Like I said, I know personally that's a huge thing for me. I need to be heard sometimes. I don't need no advice. I just need to say, man, I'm about to go flip out and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I feel better now. All right. See you later. See you later. I'm good now.
And I'm learning to be more of the person that listens without feedback. So I'm on the opposite end of that. Of course, I need a safe space to vent and, to not necessarily vent, but to be able to say what I feel, to somebody that's not going to give me all this advice. Sometimes you just don't need advice, like you said, or you just don't need them to talk. I just want you to listen. And so I'm learning to be that listener. I'm here for you. So do you want me to share something, or, I can just listen, I'm available. So that's big to me because I don't always need the advice. And so now I'm on the other side, not always wanting to give advice, but just to be quiet and listen because it's so important.
Yeah,
and I realize that.
Yeah, we got two ears and one mouth. So that means we're supposed to do 2 times as much listening as we do talking.
Yep.
So basically, shut your mouth. Open your ears, shut your mouth.
Yep. So to help somebody else, you can also offer tools and resources like books, courses, therapy, and support groups can accelerate healing. So people sometimes don't know things that are available to them to get healing. You may have read a really good book, and so you shared that book with them, or share the information about that book, and then, say, hey, read this book. I read it and it really helped me, or whatever the resources are, whether it's a course that you've heard about, or even going, a certain therapist or a certain support group, anything that can help aid in their healing, that you've learned and that you've had the opportunity to take advantage of, or just to be aware of that information. So, um, and then model resilience and growth. So lead by example in handling hurt with grace and strength. You want to make a comment?
Yeah, I just well, I mean, it says it right there. You know, the biggest uh, thing we can do is be lead by example. I mean, again, people are watching you. You know, it's I guarantee people pay more attention to what you do than what you say. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yep. So another thing is empower with faith and purpose. So help others find meaning beyond their pain. You know, as soon as I said that, it made me think about Job and his friends. um, and how they were giving him advice, um, and they weren't giving him good advice. They were saying, well, maybe this is happening to you because of this, or maybe this is happening to you because of that. So they didn't really know. They were just speculating. Um, so it's really important to be able to guide people um, to somebody or to something, like I said, a book or some type of resource or something to help them look beyond that pain. What does this pain mean? Why am I experiencing this pain? Um, what does it mean? Where did it come from? Where did it start? How, things like that. Ask questions like that, to yourself when you're experiencing things, or to somebody else that's experiencing it. So, and then remind the person that you're helping, remind them that healing is ongoing. It's a process, not a one time thing. So, healing, again, it's a process, it's not a one time thing. So, remember that. Um, and then, so first I was having technical problems, and now Jen is having difficulties. So, but we're going to get through this show, y'all. So I want to move on to the next part. And so, what I'm going to be doing is sharing some encouraging and empathetic tips for each of these steps. And we've already talked about these steps. So, in order to heal a wounded heart, we mentioned acknowledging the pain. So, when you acknowledge the pain, you can say things like, it's okay to feel hurt. Your emotions are real, and you don't have to rush your healing. Just take your time and heal. Um, and another thing is something Gene always says to me, and he's not even here to hear, but I said it earlier on the show. He always tells me, give yourself grace. So this is helping to heal a wounded heart. So just know that what you went through was hard, but you are not broken. And if you are broken, you can heal. You can always heal. So, and you don't have to carry this pain alone. Lean on those who truly care about you. Those are things you can do, things you can say to somebody to help them and give them some kind of courage to know that, acknowledging your pain is important. And then also identify. So the next thing would be identify core wounds. And so we're talking about healing a wounded heart, right? And so giving you some encouraging and empathetic tips. So to identify core wounds, tell people or tell that person your past experiences may have shaped you, but they don't define your future. So that helps a person feel like they don't have to, um, that even though they may feel stuck, they're not stuck forever. The things, from the past made you this way, but it doesn't, welcome back. It it doesn't, affect your future or define it. So, you can move forward even though that bad thing happened. You can move forward. Give yourself grace when you make mistakes or when things don't happen your way. Give yourself grace and move forward.
Right.
So then the last one, and then I'll let you do the next one. So, recognize your wounds is the first step to healing them. You're already making progress just by saying, "Hey, I'm mad, I'm angry, I'm upset,
Right.
but I don't want to stay here." And then choosing to move toward that place that you want to be in, that place that's going to help you heal. um, and then just let them know, and by encouraging them and saying you're already making progress because you recognize that you are wounded, you
Right.
recognize that you are hurt, you recognize that person hurt your feelings by what they said or by what they did. And then lastly, something that you an encouraging statement you can give them is, um, be patient with yourself as you uncover the layers of your pain, as healing takes time. So those are some things that you can say to help people, some encouraging and empathetic steps. We want to help people and not hurt them and say and do things that hurt them. So you want to add something before you do the next part?
Well, yeah, just again, like I heard you. Yeah, definitely in the healing process, be patient with yourself. Give yourself grace. You're gonna have those times where you're gonna be upset. Just be aware of it, process it in a constructive way, and then continue to move forward. But be patient because it's an ongoing thing. It may take you your entire life. You still may feel some of that pain. You never know. But just be patient with yourself and patient with the process.
Yeah. So Mark said something before you move to the next part. He said a couple of things. He said, "What if you pay for someone's therapy? They might feel a certain kind of special way if you give them that gift." That's true.
Yeah.
That's a way to help them. If you can pay for it and they go, then
Right.
they'll thank you later and appreciate you later, especially after, they start seeing the other side, the
Right.
good side, the helpful side and not the hopeless side. So, and then he said, be very patient with yourself, not the dreaded time. Right. So, and then he said, love empathy.
Mm-hmm.
So, you want to go do the
Yeah,
next
yeah.
part?
All right. So number 3 is release blame. Blaming others keeps you connected to the hurt. Letting go sets you free, and that's the
Yeah.
biggest thing. We're on a journey of ourselves. We can only be the example if we taken the journey ourselves, walked in their shoes. Um,
Yep.
Number 2, the second part is second quote is you don't have to excuse what happened, but you do deserve peace.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. You gotta hold on to it tight, man.
Yep. And it's encouraging when people say things like this to you,
Right,
to help you when you're going through a tough time, because we don't think about these good pieces or these good parts, that might be helpful when we're going through a tough time.
right. And number 3 is releasing blame doesn't mean forgetting. It means choosing to move forward.
Yep.
So like we said earlier, forgive but don't forget.
Yep.
All right, write it down. Okay, so that's that person. Okay, all right. Hey, how you doing from a distance? Hey, how you doing way over there? You good? Aru. Aru. No,
So
stay over there.
silly.
You good? Oh, you coming this way? I'm going that way then. All right. All Nah, we ain't got nothing to talk about, player. We ain't got nothing to talk about.
So, in forgiving somebody, you're just keeping that boundary. I'm not going to let you in to hurt me again or to do that thing, whatever it was, again. So, that's why we can be distant. I still treat you nice and all that, but I ain't trying to hang out with you. And that was always hard for me when it came to forgiveness, is I always thought if I forgave somebody, that meant I had to go back and hang around them to be re-injured again. Yeah, I didn't know.
Hell to now. No. Hell no. I ain't doing it. You get 2 strikes with me, third, I'm deuces on you. I'm gone, player.
Yeah.
And 2, I'm like, cut off game, strong player. You see that? With authority.
Yep. So when it comes to setting boundaries, here's some empathetic or encouraging tips. You can say to somebody, boundaries aren't about shutting people out. They're about protecting your peace.
I'm protecting my peace, so peace.
Yeah, that's something that I've had to learn, is to protect my peace. Because if you keep on upsetting me and making me mad, then I know this is what you do. And so I have a choice in this too. I can keep coming around you and keep letting you make me mad or upset me or whatever, make me be unhappy. Or I can just say, nah, that's what they're doing. That ain't what I want. So then I just don't go. And that's been really big for me, protecting my peace. And so it has been real helpful. I mean, the person that's doing, that I push away from as a result of that, or the people, it bothers them, but you had opportunities to treat me right. I gave you opportunities and you still wanted to do what you wanted to do. So, yeah, so I want peace, not what you giving me. What did you say, Gene?
I said they did on it.
All right, Nana. Yep. So if you don't want that, then if you don't want whatever they're giving, right, then you have to say, okay, I'm protecting my peace. I don't want that. I'm not doing that. So Mark said, excuse me, don't go places that makes you sad. Sometimes you need to leave bad people alone. Yes, all the way alone. And then he also said,
Lord have mercy.
Huh?
The Lord have mercy.
What you say?
Lord have mercy.
Oh. Excuse me. And Mark also said, Poet was just talking about that, how she had to realize she was a people pleaser and had to take some responsibility for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said, Gene, this is for you. He said, are the dogs protecting your peace?
Yes, they are. They are. Because if you mess with my peace, crap. If you mess with my peace, they may eat you. They may eat you.
So while Gene is fixing his stuff, so setting boundaries, going back to that, here's a couple more things, encouraging things you can say. Saying no is a full sentence, and you don't owe an explanation.
Point blank and the period.
Huh?
Point blank and the period.
Right. And then another thing is healthy relationships respect the boundaries you set. Toxic ones will challenge them. So see, I didn't even know that part was coming up when I just shared what I just shared. I just know I love peace. I absolutely love peace, and I got to have it at all costs. And so if you robbing me of my peace, you got to go. What happened?
I got this thing on the charger, and it's still going down. I'm at 2%.
Okay. So I'll just go ahead and try to finish. So you want to do the reframe negative beliefs before you?
Yeah. Before it conks out on me. All right. So number 5 is reframe negative beliefs. So you can say something like, the thoughts you believed about yourself aren't always true.
Yeah.
Rewrite your story. Lord, what now? All right. You are not unworthy, unlovable, or undeserving. You are valuable, capable, and strong.
Yeah.
And last but not least, don't let past pain make you believe lies about yourself. Speak truth over your life.
Yep.
Say about that.
Yep. And so the next thing that you can say is, well, when you're helping somebody, you practice self compassion. So here's some tips and encouraging things to say to them, to the person or people. Talk to yourself the way you would talk to a dear friend with love and understanding. So that's something that
Mm-hmm.
you're helping yourself with.
Yep.
And so just know and understand you're not weak for struggling. You're human and you deserve kindness. And then healing isn't linear. Some days are hard and that's okay. Keep going.
Right.
So that's encouraging yourself and encouraging somebody you're helping. So you
Yes.
want to do the next part?
Yes. Uh,
Okay, I'll do it. So forgive your own peace. Forgiveness isn't about the other person. It's about setting your heart free. So that's something you have to tell yourself, something you can tell somebody that needs the compassion or that needs to hear it, that needs the encouragement or the empathy, is what I meant to say. So, also, something else you can say to somebody is letting go of resentment doesn't mean forgetting, it means choosing joy over bitterness. So, and then one more thing, forgiveness doesn't mean re entering harmful relationships, it means choosing yourself. I wish I had known that years ago. It would have saved me a lot of pain, a lot of agony, a lot of hurt. But I didn't know that. I didn't understand that. So um, I'm a certified forgiveness coach. And so once I learned that through um, my course, forgiveness course, then I was like, wow, I never knew that. So if you let somebody know that, then that really helps them because, like I said, some people might think like I did. You know, if I forgive you, then that means I have to come back and keep hanging around you, and all you're going to do is keep re-injuring me because you're not willing to change and you're okay with what you're doing to me, but I'm not okay with that. So those are just things you can tell yourself to encourage yourself, or things you can tell other people. So also, uh, in rebuilding your self-worth, here's a few things, encouraging things you can say to yourself or you can say to encourage others. And that is, your worth was never based on how others treated you. It's always been within you. Your worth was never based on how others treated you. Never. It's always been within you. And then here's another statement. Invest in what brings you joy and reminds you of your strengths. So whatever it is that brings you joy or that makes you happy and reminds you that you're a strong person, do that. Whatever that might be, whether it's crafts or whether it's doing some kind of artwork or some kind of dance or some kind of music or anything, whatever it is, you know what brings you joy. So do that thing and remind yourself that you are strong, and remind somebody else of the same thing. Also, to rebuild your self worth, you can tell yourself or share it with somebody else that needs to hear it. Self worth isn't built in a day. Every small act of self care is a step forward. So then, also, when it comes to um, finding, we talked about finding a healthy support system. So this is something you can tell yourself or share it with someone that needs to hear it. Surround yourself with people who see your light, even when you can't. We can't always see our light. We see darkness sometimes, and that's all we see. And when that's all we see, then we can't help other people because our cup is not filled with joy or encouragement. And so we can't give that to somebody else if we don't have it. That's just an example. So, again, surround yourself with people who see your light even when you can't. You need people to encourage you and share something to give you the strength that you don't have. So here's another tip for finding a healthy support system. You don't have to go through this alone. There are people who want to walk with you. So remember that. And remember to share that with people because they need to hear it. And then remember, the third one: a true support system will encourage healing, not hinder it. You don't need somebody in the way that's discouraging you and hindering you and trying to keep you unhappy. Nobody wants to deal with that. That's a horrible feeling. So, um, Mark Jean got kicked out. He had a low charge. So
I figure that's what happened. I don't know if you saw what I put down there, but I was just saying when you're talking about things that people can use, because I used to be a master and used to love doing crypto codes. I've not done them lately, but that was like one of my little tools. It's like that whole thing where you get the scrambled letters and you try to unscramble them. But that was one of the things that used to be something I would do just to get a mental space and to relax myself and everything. So it's one of those hobbies you're talking about. Like I know that I've got an aunt that's into Scrabble, and even my own mother is into like solitaire and stuff like
mhm,
that. So it's some of those things that sometimes can be what you're talking about. Those things that can help you get a mental space. Because I used to love doing those crypto codes. I've not done them probably in probably a couple of years, definitely since the pandemic. But I used to pick up the paper just to get the crypto code and see if I could solve it. And then I used to also love hearing what the quotes were because they're like famous people's quotes. There might be famous people that you knew and famous people that were like obsolete or not obsolete, but they weren't as known as some of the others. Like you might see a Martin Luther King or a Jesus Christ, which everybody knows, but then you might get somebody that you're sitting there going like, I don't know who that is. So I got to do some research on who they are.
yeah. So I was listening to the games that you said, and then the quotes. I do Sudoku,
Yes.
not all the time, but Sudoku really helps me, to challenge my mind.
Right.
Um, so, um, and then you said you hadn't done it in a while, but
Yeah.
they were a challenge. So, um, thank you for sharing that because we all need something that can help, change our mind to from where it is in an unsafe, toxic place, to a place of, you know, shoot, that's like investigating something,
Right. Exactly.
and
Exactly.
which is really good. So, um, thank you again for sharing that.
No, no problem.
So, you know what? I think I'm just gonna stop right here.
Okay.
And so, to those listeners, we have shared things to help you. We have shared things to help ourselves and to remind ourselves of what's happening and acknowledging our emotions and running toward healing because healing is so important. We have to have it. Um, or we're just going to be a total wreck all the time. And then we're not any help to ourselves or anybody else.
Yeah.
So, thank you for joining our show. Thank you for being part of the show and give us comments. Comment, ask us questions. We'd be glad to answer your questions. And remember, we're on at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time every Sunday, right here, wherever you're watching us from. So we send you away with peace, send you away with love. Take care and bye for now.
Uh,
See you next time.
See you next time.